tremendous looking trophy.
Welcome to the #1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Dylan Blaine. Joining me, as always, Ashley Holden.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here in a week in which we're going to get a massive PlayStation release everybody's looking forward to. Uncharted.
Yes, okay, very good. I was like, what's the swerve? What's the play? It is a rather, I mean, that's the thing. The trophy cabinet, all I've got, gold trophy, Charter movie out, platinum trophy, Horizon's out. Haven't watched, haven't played. However, could be bad, could be bad. Could be great, could be great. Both could be, who fucking knows?
Could be one of each, we don't know.
Could be both. I mean, there are reviews out that would lean towards that direction. However, at this stage, who knows? But ultimately, big week for PlayStation. Just right at the end of the week. And this podcast is out right in the middle of the week. So, unfortunately, not really talking about... Well, hold on. We are talking about some of that. So, anyway. Firstly, I just want to get this out of the way because I've been talking about it like fucking a million podcasts in a row at this stage. And maybe I'll continue talking about this game throughout the year if the story continues to evolve. But Sifu, right? Now, last week on the podcast... And of course, if you listen to all Exposure Network podcasts, maybe you don't know the story. But if you only listen to Platt, here we go. Story. Last week on the podcast, come on here. Say Sifu, great game. Hard game. Would love to get the Platt. Don't know if I could get the Platt. Platt seems very hard. Of course, if you don't know, to get the Platt in Sifu, you have to beat the game while being 25 years or under, which basically means you can only die like 3 or 4 times, however it works out to be. 5 times, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. You only die a couple times. Very hard concept. Not sure if I could do it. Anyway, after saying I wouldn't be able to do it, I did it like the day after the podcast. So fucking got the Sifu Platinum, everyone. Here's my tips and tricks. Let me boil it down. I was like, let me put some actual advice out there, you know, for maybe even if you're not going for the Platinum, but you just want to know how to beat the game. Let me run through it. Now, I haven't wrote this down. I'm just going off the top of my head because I'm a kung fu master now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't need scripture. I've mastered the way of kung fu. Tip number 1. Parrying, very good. Also, risk reward. If you fuck it up, you will get smacked right in the face. Probably not always good. So do what I didn't do and learn earlier to dodge. Dodging is a safer way to get out of combat. However, it can be the slower way to progress through levels. So dodging, I don't mean pressing, R2. Not like that's a sort of jump back or like jump to the side sort of thing. By dodging, I mean, and the game does introduce this mechanic to you in the tutorial opening, but a lot of people just seem to ignore it, I guess, which is if you hold L1 and someone's coming at you with a punch right, like a high punch to your face, and if you hold L1 and back, and press back as they're about to hit you, you'll dodge. You'll weave his head. It's less dodgy, it's more weaving, I guess. You're not like moving, you're just like, you know, weaving, getting him. If someone goes to do the ones that are harder to dodge, and the ones I struggle to wrap my head around, is if someone does like a punch and you L1 back, you weave it backwards. And if someone then goes to do like a roundhouse kick at you, that's a low blow, you have to press L1 and forward, and then you'll jump over the attack. Doing all this helps you get back your focus, your stamina meter, whatever, structure meter, if it's about to break, so you can have a break there. But that is very good for the boss, I think, that fucked me the hardest for the longest time, and the one I see most people struggling on, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But boss number 2, if you can get down the weaving, that's how you'll get through that boss. You can get through that boss by blocking and parrying and trying to break his structure. And you can technically do that fight a lot quicker if you do a mixing of weaving and parrying. However, if you want to do it the safest way, because he's it's not really spoilers. I feel like at this stage it's like whatever. The second boss is a dude who has like a massive, I don't know what you'd actually call it. Like he has a stick, you know, like a kendo stick, I guess, like sort of thing. I don't know. But he has a stick, and he'll come at you with that. But like he has very simple attack patterns that once you realize he has attack patterns, it's suddenly the boss fight seems a lot easier. Rather than the first couple times I tried to do that boss, I was just like trying to wail in punches, and I was legit like, I would die without landing a single punch or maybe one punch. I was like, what the fuck? The secret is you have to hold your ground, and from memory, because I haven't played it for like a week now, but from memory, it's the first wave, for instance, he'll come at you and he'll be like, he'll go like whack, whack, slight, like high, high, and then he'll do like a big, like longer, like over the top of your head. So if you just hold L1, your character will block, you'll take 0 damage. Your structure goes up a little bit each time because you're blocking an attack. But then when he goes to that third hit, you press, you while holding L1, you press back on the paddle and you'll weave it. And then there's a slight second there where you can start like laying in hits. So it's kind of like a counter, but doesn't get as much structure up for the damage as you would if you parried it, but you can go straight for the health. So, and then ultimately to do the last fight the best, and especially some of the later bosses in the game, you have to learn and pick out which are the best attacks to parry, and then where you should just be blocking, and then which ones you should actually be weaving. And I think to get the best at the game, you have to sort of be able to master all those sorts of things. But I would say the number one thing is learn that parrying, because I guess if you go into this having like I did initially, which is like, oh, it's like Batman Arkham, but harder, I guess, where you just want to sort of counter everyone and then do takedowns. That works for normal enemies. It doesn't work on the bosses. So for the bosses and the mini bosses, you have to get those weaves down, and they'll come at you. Any of those attacks that light up red. So a fist where it lights up red. Some of those mini bosses where they'll do those massive overhead leg attacks and they light up red. You can't parry those. So they're the ones you have to weave. So you can block their other attacks and get their structure up. And as soon as you see those, you have to get into a habit of being like, okay, weave, and then get damage in. So it is possible. It's just very hard. Obviously, it's a fighting game. You sort of have to master the mechanics, I guess. But Sifu Platinum, done. Never have to talk about it again until a couple stories from now, because let's have a break. So firstly, Horizon Zero Dawn has sold 20 million copies. Well, I think I was about to say chronicles for some reason. I'm not sure why. Herman Holst on Twitter said, wow, Horizon Zero Dawn has officially sold 20 million copies around the world across PS4 and PC. What an incredible achievement, really, and a big thank you to hugely supportive fans. Now let's get ready to visit Horizon Forbidden West in a week. 1 billion hours played, apparently. I don't know if that's across, like, I guess they can track that between PS4, PS5, PC, easy to track or whatever. But 20 million is pretty good, especially for a first entry in a brand new franchise, of course. So good job there. And that's good news coming into, of course, Horizon Forbidden West, which is out this Friday. Now, as I said, we haven't played it. However, a bunch of people have. So let's run down. I'm going to read it all, but just to get your general review consensus. I don't know if you've read any reviews since they've dropped, but general review consensus, here's what we're looking at. OzGamers 7, Checkpoint 10 out of 10. Digitally downloaded 4.5 out of 5. Game on Oz, masterpiece. GameSub 5 out of 5. Player 2, A+. Power Up Gaming 8.5. Pressed Art 10 out of 10. Survivor 6.5. Well played 9 out of 10. So if you've been paying any attention, Survivor's currently getting unjustifiably roasted on Twitter by fuckboys gamers who don't understand how reviews work. But otherwise, everyone else is more in that the high range. And not to say their score is wrong, but I would say, you know, I've seen other critics. I've seen a year ago. So obviously this review roundups from us, Australia. And I only post, and I've just sort of started doing these recently where I just focus on Australian outlets. I've seen Eurogamer post a review that's pretty heavy. They don't do review scores though, but Eurogamer's review was very much like, this is a paint by numbers, open world, very bland. Like, they were very critical of some stuff I've seen other people talk about. So there is definitely criticism going around.
Then Survivor's not even the lowest score. Like, Gadgets 360 gave it a 6 out of 10, and the Telegraph in the UK gave it a 3 out of 5, which are lower.
Is 3 out of 5 technically lower than 6 out of 10? Is that how that works? I don't know how it works.
Well, that's a 6 out of 10, so that's the same.
Okay, yeah, true, I guess.
Yeah. I think there's some interesting criticisms about his review, but I don't not playing the game is like hard to argue with him saying the game's very linear, and when everybody else is very much in an opposite direction and saying you've got all these other options and that kind of stuff. So I don't know how much of that is the way you play a game and how much is it the actual game itself.
And how much does it even matter?
Yeah. Not much, Obviously, people make a big deal about these Metacritic scores and Open Critic scores, but at the end of the day, they're all very high, and you're going to get as much enjoyment out of the game as you wanted to get out of the game.
I feel like
that being said, you should check out our review at explosionnetwork.com whenever it comes out.
Next year.
You should value that opinion very highly.
The thing is, I feel like there are times when people read reviews because they want to know if they should check something out. I feel like for games, it's less for big games like this, it's less likely. People are more or less made up their minds prior to release. I don't know. Maybe more people do choose not to buy stuff if something got panned, if Horizon was getting primarily 5s and 6s, maybe people would cancel pre-orders at that stage. But I really don't feel like a couple 6s and whatever really matters in the scheme of things. I think it's it's Metacritic's 89 or something currently. Last I checked, unless more reviews.
Yeah, Open Critic's 89.
Yes.
94 critics recommend.
There you go. But I feel like Kieran reviewed, in almost every way, Guerrilla has rethought, redefined, and redoubled and everything that was good or bad about Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm like, well, I kind of know what I'm going in for with that. If that's the sort of, I'm like, yep, it'll be the good stuff. To me, that reads as, what did I like most about Horizon? Combat. Gameplay. What did I not like so much? Convoluted story that wasn't super interesting. So, I mean, if that's the
it's also interesting reading the reviews and the various people's takes on the first game. There were people who love the first game, and of course, they all seem to love this version as well, and have very few issues. But the people who had struggled to get into Horizon Zero Dawn, it seems to be, you really think they've switched everything around, or there's still the issues that didn't allow you to get into it. So for the 20 million players who bought the game and potentially loved it, there's a lot to like potentially. And that it doesn't have this massive open world game in which you can climb stuff to compare itself to.
I have seen some complaints still about some negatives were about the climbing and that sort of traversal.
That's such a bullshit thing, though, isn't it? It's like, I should be able to climb every single thing I see in this game because game 5 years ago let me do it.
I'd say no. I feel like because personally, my complaint in the first game wasn't I couldn't climb everything. It was that you couldn't climb the simplest ledges at times. That was annoying. Where you're like, can you just grab? You can reach it. I can clearly see your arm will reach that. Just grab onto it. Just pull yourself up. But yes, that was my sort of. It's less climb everything and more climb what is clearly climbable. So we shall see. Anyway, we'll all hopefully like it. But it's been.
How do you feel about? Obviously, there was a lot of hype about the release of the end of the review embargo. How do you feel about that? That becoming an event.
Review embargoes becoming. So I was weird. This is a weird different topic, but I was thinking about this last night, oddly, which is, and maybe because maybe I wasn't ingrained in the review culture or whatever when I was in the high school, college, or whatever, when I was starting to get more into reading game stuff. But I don't recall ever seeing, and maybe because the internet wasn't such a big, social media, I don't know, wasn't as big a thing then, but I definitely don't recall ever seeing, hey, social media embargo for a game is now this time, or the general public being aware and the lead up to a review dropping being an event.
Seeing other sites hyping up it's 2 hours until the review drops. I think, it's an interesting marketing thing, I think, more than anything else. like utilizing all these reviews as when they're confident they're going to get good reviews. I'm sure they've had like dummy reviewers and that kind of stuff, like play through the game and give scores and that kind of stuff. So they're pretty confident the game would get high scores. So then you can hype it up as an event.
Yeah,
like
I mean, if I'd been playing it, I would have been tweeting out like our review. I would have joined the party. Yeah. So I can't really like critique.
No, it's definitely nothing about the reviewers. It's like, I think it's interesting. Like, and that probably plays into like the culture of like, why is this score so low compared to everybody else's? Is everybody produce these scores at the same time? Everybody's
I definitely think it's because like so reviews dropped at 7:01 last night. Everyone opens, and I did the exact same thing because I started working on that roundup article straight away. But like, I just open up a bunch of reviews and I'm not reading them. I'm just going straight to the bottom. What they give it, sort of thing. But but this is where we come down to what we're saying about like, and the Survivor thing, which is just interesting to watch because it's done by Job, who he's a freelancer.
He's not. Yeah, he doesn't work for Survivor.
But people don't understand. People just, it's a whole thing where you honestly see like IGN does this, IGN gave it this, IGN. They never talk about who wrote the review or who did it. So it's
IGN is one person, Dylan.
Yeah. So they're like, Survivor's one person, but it's not. It's like, this person wrote the review, they gave it a 6.5, and then people have done, it's fucked up to see. Have you seen like in the replies, people are doing all these like mass, like they photoshopped in a bunch of the PlayStation scores that Survivors gave games, and then a bunch of Xbox scores that they've gave games, cherry picked because they've left out things like Ratchet and Clank that they've gave high scores to, and like cherry picked. So it's
they did give Death Stranding one of the lowest scores.
They gave Death Stranding one of the lowest scores,
which kind of gave them a bit of a reputation.
Yeah, and I mean, look,
which is fine because that game is. We knew was going to be divisive.
Yeah, that game is divisive, and like I would have no problem like being in the room with Steve and being like that score is nonsensical, but like more power to you. But like because at the end of the day, I'm not saying like I'm going to come to your house. Like there's people in the comments being like I saw someone in the comments, either Steve Wright, who's the editor-in-chief of Survivor, right? It was either him or Job, the review. I can't remember which one. One of them had a reply where someone's like, people will find out your address. Like, that is like...
That's extreme.
It's a fucking review score for a game that you haven't played, and you're like threatening, death? Someone's going to come to your house over a 6.5? Come on.
It's not even that bad.
It's not even that bad. Like, on our scale, it's like... It's nearly good.
Day one patch could go up to like a 7.5.
That's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. But it's like just the whole... Yeah, people have been like, oh, you gave Halo a 9.5 or whatever it was because Survivor gave, but I think Steve reviewed that Halo and he gave it like a 9 or a 9.5. And people are going, hey, you gave that game that and you gave Horizon a 6.5. And it's like, well, it's two different reviewers. Meanwhile, the guy who actually did review Horizon, who people reckon is a Xbox fanboy, gave fucking Halo Infinite a 6. He gave it a lower score. It doesn't actually it's like these people are dumb. These people in the comments actually are dumb. I don't think they realize, and I don't understand why it means so much. I don't think I'll ever understand why it matters so much to their lives is the thing. Like, I mean, I would
because they want to win.
But that's what? What are they winning? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I was in bed this morning reading all this shit, and I was trying to work it out and just trying to like put myself in the brain where I'm like, how could you ever get like this over the review someone gave something when you're not involved with it? Like, I don't like it. Obviously, if the director of Horizon or the fucking someone who worked on the art team like was suddenly tweeting like, I'm going to fucking find a house and stuff, that wouldn't be okay. But at least I'd be like, you've got a little bit more in this. Like,
you got a bit of skin in the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I'll be like, that's not okay. But I could like draw a line to how this affected you in a way that made you speak like that. However, for anyone who's just hasn't played the game and is just a fan of Horizon as a franchise or PlayStation, I have no idea how it affects you in your life on a day-to-day basis. And I think I've seen people ask this, and the common response seems to be people going, well, like they bring up, it's an ethics and journalism thing, because they keep bringing up, they're like, well, he said this and it's a lie and it doesn't do this and blah, 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 blah. And you didn't even play the game on the right difficulty and all this sort of shit. And I'm like, but who cares? Like, there's like 30 other, even if that's true, there's like 30 other reviews that are like super positive. So why don't you go grab one of the 10 out of 10 reviews and go spend your time like just in their mentions.
Praising them.
Yeah. I don't know, it's weird. It's crazy. And this stuff happens, of course, like semi-regularly throughout the year. Usually for the huge releases, I guess, you'll see stuff like this. Or maybe not all of them, because if the huge release comes out and most people review it well, it's like the waters are calm. But all it takes is one of these where someone shits the bed and gives it one 6.5 and it's like fucking World War III out.
I feel sorry for whoever really hates Elden Ring when they're playing it.
And you know someone will.
It's like, maybe we don't need to put a score on this.
You know someone will. You know someone's going to review that and say that it's too hard, or, you know, there's going to be something.
It's too long, too convoluted.
Yep. There's going to be something. So good luck to them. It's just, yeah.
Just like set all your things to private. So.
And it's not even a games thing. Like, you see it happen in movies.
Make it so there's no replies on your tweets.
When Marvel review embargoes drop, I've seen this happen too. If there's an outlier, that's like if the majority say, and this will I wait for this to happen with Batman. You wait for this to happen with Batman too. Guarantee there'll be a lot of great Batman reviews. There'll be one person who says it's like the worst Batman, or like nowhere near as good as the Nolan trilogy or something, and that person's
it's worse than Twilight.
Yeah, that person's going to be like on the cutting board, because people can't dislike things if people like things. But they haven't even watched it or played it, is the thing that confuses me. I'm just like, I don't... Like, if you read it and you were like, no way it's that bad, but I'll wait and see myself on Friday, I guess. Like,
if they came back after watching the movie and then got angry at you, I would respect that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean...
I bookmarked this tweet so I could come back and tell you you're wrong.
I didn't say anything at the time, but it's now been 14 days and I've finished the game. And let me tell you, sir, you are wrong.
It's definitely at least a 7.
On your scale, for which I don't actually write for your site and don't fully understand, but it's definitely a 7. And again, the last thing I'll say on this is the review scale is fucked. People go.
Yeah, I think what I saw someone tweeting. Oh, I've seen it's getting 8 in that. I don't want to play it. It's mediocre. I'll just wait till after Elden Ring.
8. I think 8 has become the new 9 and above worth playing. So there's a 1 number gap. 8,
so really, it needs to average over a 90.
Yeah, to be worth playing. Yeah. So what the fuck are the other 7 numbers for? I don't think
any game last year averaged over a 90.
Probably not. But I'm just like, what's the other 7 numbers for? I don't get it. I really don't get it.
The other 8 numbers to tell you how bad the game is.
Because
8 is only just a little bit bad. And then it works out 1 is like awful, even though if 1 is unplayable. that's it.
Because if I go for Horizon 6 or 6.5, if that's how if I was to score at that I'm giving it that because I'm going, it's okay. That's what it means. It's okay, and that's not even bad. It's okay. Maybe wait for it on discount. You know, don't feel rushed. But that's not saying it's bad. Even a 5 to me is like, there's some good parts, but like ultimately too many issues. But, you know, maybe pick it up still. That's a 5. I feel like it's on a 10-point scale. It's anything below a 5 that's the like, probably not. Like, You better read the review to decide if this is actually worth your time. But it's like the review, the scale starts at 7. 7 is now 1. 8 is 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 9's 9, 10's a 10. And I was like, that's anyway,
yeah,
fucking dumb review scores. Review scores are dumb, but we need to give them. We need to give them to be part of the conversation, you know, or else I'll take them away.
Otherwise, nobody would come see our scores. Yeah.
I just want that out there on record. I would happily take the review scores away, but I'm willing to play the game. Well, I feel like I have to play the game, so we give reviews.
We're too small to not play the game.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Horizon out this Friday. Look forward to our thoughts next week on the podcast, of course. I'm assuming we'll do a spoiler cast and whatever else at some stage as well.
At some stage, in
the future. Look forward to all that. Sifu, let's come back to it. Pushko says Sifu trophy data shows second level is destroying most players. The current trophy data for Sifu on PlayStation 5 and 4 tells quite an interesting story. Obviously, the game's only been out for the best part of the week, but it's already abundantly clear that most players are having a hard time. Let's start with the positive. 97% of players have beaten the prologue, in which you actually can't die. To which I say, where's the other 3%? If you can't, you can't die in the prologue. Where's the other 3%? The next one is generally impressive. 80% of players have beaten the first proper level, which is a really good start. So that's good, 80%. They continue. It goes downhill from there, and rather dramatically. The competition rate for the game's second level represents a gigantic drop-off, falling to just 27%. This suggests that Sifu's second stage is kicking just about everyone's asses. So the full rates are... fully out. It's like prologue, common, 97%. First boss, common, 80%. Second boss, rare, 27%. Third boss, very rare, 11% have beat it. Fourth boss, very rare, 7% have beat it. The fifth boss, final boss, ultra rare. Only 3% of people have beat the final boss in the game. And then the last stats, and these might have changed slightly because this was written about 4 or 5 days ago, whatever it was. But Platinum Trophy, 0.3%, of which your boys are part of. Beat the game age 50 or less. Ultra rare, 1%. 1% for 50 or less. And that I remember looking at that trophy list before starting the game and going, that's probably the common age that everyone will beat the game at. No, no, it's not. Beat the game age 25 or less, 0.6%, of course. So, that's a huge drop-off, though, between the first and second level. The game really fucking kicks you in the ass. But if you're struggling in the second level, rewind to what I said at the start. Weave that guy. Weave his attacks, and you shall beat him. And then when you get to the third boss, have fun. I can't do tips for all the bosses. But second boss, weave.
Interesting. Also, I forgot to mention this when we were talking about Horizon, but I just saw a story about Horizon's trophy list.
Apparently got spoilers or something?
Yeah, apparently you shouldn't read it because a bunch of the trophies are named after events in the game.
Yep. Saw that headline and went, cool, no worries. I will not then. I shall not. I'm waiting for Power Picks or someone to drop a trophy guide, hopefully, if they've got early access, which I'm assuming they do, because I just want to read the roadmap, like the introduction of their thing that says missable trophies, yes, no.
Apparently there's no missables.
All right, I'm good then. Doesn't matter. I don't need to read the trophies then. No missables, we're good.
Guide, yeah.
We're good. I don't need a trophy guide. I'll just figure it out. It's fine. That's all I need to know. Half the time, I honestly feel like PlayStation should tweet this out. Like, hey, the Horizon just came out, and for you trophy hunters, we fucked you good, because there's a missable trophy in the second level. You dumb motherfuckers. Hey, where is it? You have to find a spoiler if you want to know. Get fucked, yeah.
I mean, ideally, there won't be any missable trophies in any game, so
ideally,
that'd be the ideal.
You know what? I don't mind missable trophies in games that have levels, because then you can just replay the level. And if say for example, Call of Duty games where they're like, oh, in this level, kill the snipers without alerting anyone. Fine. Open world games, get fucked. Like if you're putting missable trophies in open world games that are 50 hours long and you have to replay the whole thing to do it again, you can eat one. Get the fuck out of here. Pushcrack continues on the seafood, last seafood story. They reported earlier that Sifu would be getting free content updates following its launch, and now we have some ideas of what the future patches might bring. The information comes from co-founder of developer Slowclap Pierre Tano, which recently appeared on Twitch talk show The Weekly. Host and gaming accessibility advocate Steve Saylor asked Tano whether there would be any plans for additional accessibility and perhaps even difficulty options in Sifu, and it sounds like both in the works. Tano talks about how the development team has seen a lot of comments on the game's steep level of difficulty, and although Sifu is meant to be highly challenging by design, Slowcat doesn't necessarily want to get in the way of people's enjoyments. So apparently they're adding stuff like better captions, high contrast mode on PS4 and PS5, difficulty modes, both easier and harder, similar to Metroid Dread's updates that are coming. So, yeah, what do you make of the whole? Because this is the other thing I've seen. Like in a week of gamers raging about bullshit, this story gets announced, and I've seen people. Slowcap will tweet out something like a GIF of the game and being like, "Hey, hope everyone's enjoying Sifu," you know, just like some typical PR tweet sort of thing. And in the comments, people are like, "Do not add an easy difficulty. Like, do not sacrifice your vision." Like, all this stuff. I'm like, I mean, do whatever they want. Do what they want. You're the one pointing the gun at them. No one else is. You're the one in their comments telling them what to do. So, what do you make of those? What are your thoughts on Sifu easier difficulties?
My thoughts, I think, is fine. Like, if you want to play the game that way it was meant to be played, then it'll still be there. Or you could just play it before the update comes out. Yeah, then you won't have the temptation of like switching it over to an easier mode. Potentially. But then you won't have the challenge of like making it to a more difficult mode.
Yeah. I have my thoughts are this. I don't give a fuck. I feel like if you wanted to, like my meeting in the middle for people who do care is if you want to like sort of appease everyone, I just say that because I feel like the thing that people get upset about is they don't want, and it is mean, but they don't want people who can't or don't have the ability to play the game on the proper difficulty. They don't want them to be able to get the same sense of achievement or like feel like they're on the same level of them, which is fucked up. But that's, I feel like, what it boils down to. So I feel like if you want to meet in the middle, you just make sure the trophies are turned off for accessibility modes. And that's meeting in the middle. Personally, I don't really give a fuck because the thing is, and the way people don't think about it is, so if you're an able-bodied person and you beat Sifu on the hardest difficulty, you can't really say for sure that someone who then has to put on easier difficulty doesn't then still just have the same challenge on a slightly easier difficulty. You know what I mean? Like, so it may be just as hard for someone else who couldn't play the game at all before to play it on an accessibility. Like, oh no, it's not. And the other thing I'm saying is people point out how like, if there's like stairs and an escalator or like a ramp, do you always choose to walk up the stairs or do you walk up the ramp? Because they went for you. Because if you're not, then that's not choosing to play Sifu on its proper difficulty.
Yeah. I think, if you take an elevator in any building, you're doing the building on easy mode.
Disservice, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Get back down, do the stairs, right? Those elevators, not for you.
Yeah. Stop doing things on easy mode, bitch.
Damn right. Get fucked.
Also, I feel like, about the vision thing, it's like, for all we know, they intended for there to be an easy mode, but they just didn't have enough time.
I mean, if they have one come out that fast after release, I would say that yes, that they didn't get it finished and they just wanted it out. Because if it comes out next couple of weeks, you don't turn something like around. That'd be very fast. So, but we shall see.
Yep, and also having Steven Saylor involved, whether his consulting or just was to break the news, that's good. And if you want your fucking bragging badge, if there's a harder difficulty, go beat that, I guess. I think whatever. DualShockers writes, Until Dawn remake possibly in the works as per rumors. According to a popular leaker in the gaming industry who goes by the name of
ACCNGT, we might be getting an Until Dawn remake game in the near future. The leak states that this project is being developed for current-gen consoles. It doesn't clearly reveal whether it will be an exclusive to current-gen consoles, but the way it has been phrased, it seems that it's less likely that the game will arrive on PS4. Moreover, Until Dawn was released on PlayStation 4 itself. It makes a little less sense for the console remaster to appear on that. Let me say this now on record. Don't give a fuck about this, and I don't know why we need it. The game came out
Start on PS4, so 2013.
Like, not many years ago. Not that long ago. It's not even that old. It might even be... It was on PlayStation Plus. Everyone's probably got it. It's not that...
2015 it came out, sorry. Okay.
It's not that good. And I don't know why we're getting a remake of it when there's so many other franchises that if you want to remake and reboot...
Dylan, they want to make Hayden Panettiere look as close to Hayden Panettiere as they possibly can.
Then do a new game with Hayden fucking Panettiere. Like, I don't need a remake of Until Dawn. Like, Until Dawn, good game. Highly necessary of a remake? No. It started a new sort of trend, which is the developer has been continuing over in the corner, publishing on all platforms. So why do we need a remake of this? We don't. Silly.
Because people love remakes of horror games.
Maybe if it's like 20 years old.
They love remakes of horror things. That's in general.
Yeah, older stuff. Older stuff we need. Also, remakes.
You don't think Capcom's countdown is for a remake of Resident Evil 7? You're crazy.
No, I do not. They're doing Resident Evil 4 is the next remake. It's pretty much like known at this stage. I'm pretty sure it's going to end up being Street Fighter, and everyone's just going to be very disappointed it's not Resident Evil. So,
Street Fighter the movie, yeah,
maybe.
Chris Pratt as Ryu.
Remakes of horror movies are not in. What's in is legacy sequels, of which this Uncharted, this Until Dawn thing is not. Martha is what? Talking about horror stuff. Mother is Dead, the upcoming first-person psychological World War II thriller from the Town of Light developer LKA, will require certain elements to be altered ahead of its release on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Publisher-wide production has revealed the PC and Xbox versions remain unaffected, however, and will release unedited at launch on the 24th of February. Martha is Dead unfolds in Tuscany, 1944, against the backdrop of an ongoing conflict between German and Allied forces. As its story begins, the body of a woman, Martha, is discovered by the side of a lake deep in the Italian countryside, and players in the role of her twin sister must deal with the repercussions of the murder, all whilst the horror of war draws even closer. This is a very weird story because they don't have, and still, this happened like nearly like mid last week or whatever, so probably a week by the time this episode drops, but we still don't know why. And I was trying to look like how often PlayStation sort of ask games to be censored. Not really a thing. I don't know. I'm just trying to work out what could be so bad that they're asking for it to be edited. And they said it's going to be fine. It doesn't affect the release date. They're just going to like patch out whatever it is. It's delayed the physical release of the PlayStation version of the game. But like gruesome stuff in games doesn't really ever appear to be a problem. There's a bunch of horror games on PlayStation. If it's nudity, there's nudity in some PlayStation games. There's penis in the Order 1886, and that's usually like you can have boobs, you can't have dick. But that seems all be fine. I feel like maybe like it could be like I don't know. I really don't know. It makes me wonder. I'm very keen to find out.
The only thing I could think of is like it's some sort of sexual assault or something like that.
Could be.
That you're in control of or something, yeah.
That could be a thing. The PlayStation's like, we're uncomfortable having that, but It makes me wonder, like, because I would feel that the Xbox and PlayStation rules would be very similar, and the PC is just like the wild west. Obviously, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested more so because Xbox is, at least so far, been like, it's okay, it's fine. So you just don't see this happen often.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, the statement here, Mothra's Dead is a narrative adventure recommended for adult audiences only, with play consisting of potentially discomforting scenes and themes that may distress some players. Both Wide Productions and LKA have always been open and honest about Mothra's Dead content, with the sensitive depictions in play consistently communicated to the media since the game was announced in 2019. The content is also flagged clearly and repeatedly within the game itself before play begins.
Yeah. Okay. So on the Steam page, it says the game is not recommended for players who might find depictions of mature scenes containing blood, dismemberment, disfigurement of human bodies, and self-harm disturbing.
Maybe it's like a scene where you play like a character like hurts himself or like cuts himself or something. Like suicidal sort of thing. Maybe. We'll find out soon. As weird as it is to say that we'll find out that soon, but the game's out next week.
You won't find out on PlayStation what it is, but you'll find out.
You know, someone on launch is gonna have already played through both versions to figure out what the hell's changed or something. But I mean, I'm just intrigued from what is so bad.
Or maybe like, this really sucks. It would be better if it was not in the game.
But if it's like such a small thing, they can easily patch it out. It has to be like just a couple seconds. It just makes it seem like it's a couple second scene or like a minute or something. Don't know. It's interesting. Now let's run down. PlayStation did one of these things where they're like, nah, fuck state of players. Let's just talk about indie games on the PlayStation blog for an afternoon.
Hey guys, we know that we heard you. It should have been an email, so here's a PS blog.
Here's a PS blog post. So I did one of those, 7 games. IGN has a write-up here. I'm just going to go through. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. Tribute Games has announced that Master Splinter will be a playable character in its retro beat-em-up, describing the character as a must-have for the game. So, of course, TMNT, Shredder's Revenge got delayed. Originally it was supposed to come out the end of last year, start of this year? I don't know, something like that. Got delayed. It's out later this year. Splinter, keen. We're still keen. Hello Neighbor 2. The selfie sequel will be coming to PS4 and PS5 this year, and Tiny Build Games has announced that the game's beta will kick off on April 7th. So if you want to try out the beta for that, pre-order the game. Samurai Gun 2. Samurai Gun 2, the one-hit kill platform fighting game, is coming to PS5. The game includes a number of guest fighters, including Among Us crewmates, Anna from Spelunky 2, and Minute from the game Minute. The game was released on PC in 2019 and then added guest characters over time, but the entire package will arrive on PS5 together. There is no release date as of yet, so there you go. Not really my thing, but cool. Salt and Sacrifice PvP mode. Salt and Sacrifice, the sequel to 2D Souls-like Salt and Sanctuary, will arrive on PS4 and PS5 on May 10th. Co-developer James Silver introduced the game's optional PvP mode, saying that it is, quote, far more dynamic than it was in Salt and Sanctuary. So, I never played the first one of these. They had like sort of an interest because it is literally just a Souls-like. And they own that. They're like, it's Souls, but side-scrolling. So, this one looks cool. Always looks cool. Don't know if I'll ever get around to it, but continues to look cool. Post Void, this real high-speed first-person shooter was released for Steam in 2020, and they'll come to consoles, including PS4 and PS5, built around classic arcade principles. Your goal is to blast your way through bizarre landscapes without dying, and as fast as you possibly can. Levels are procedurally generated, and there are no lives or retries, meaning every time you fail, the game regenerates. Get to the end of a level, and you're given a randomly chosen upgrade to continue with. This looks cool. I've never seen this before, but it looks cool. Has a interesting art style, interesting mechanics, I guess. So I don't know if it would become tedious if you're dying a lot, I guess. I don't know, and not ever reaching the end of a level, but maybe you can just procedurally get an easier level one time, and maybe that'll help things. But yeah, I think the art style is the thing that like if I bring it up on the video version quickly for people watching, but people playing at home, you'll have to Google it. But it's very fucking fast, and it's just got this art style that makes you look like you're having an acid trip. So I'm keen. I think I would like to try this one. I like acid trips. Moss Book 2, the sequel to the beloved PSVR action puzzle, has already been announced, but developer Polyarch announced new details. Moss Book 2 will look to build on the sense of outsized scale that the first game brought, putting you in larger areas and including, quote, expansive multi-dimensional puzzles and platforming challenges, end quote. That will be facilitated by adding seamless cuts with no load time. I mean, you can get around large spaces without motion discomfort. Areas will also be available to revisit, allowing you to rinse each one for collectibles and secrets at your own pace. Rooms will also change as the game goes on, offering new perspectives that will allow you to solve otherwise hidden puzzles. Never played the first one, still want to. Would like to play the second one, looks very cute. Hopefully it's on PSVR 2, because I'm telling you right now, I'm done. I'm not plugging my PSVR. I cannot. Fix that shit. Animal Well, a pixel art 2D game with the sensibilities of a survival horror. Animal Well is a new PS5 game from solo developer Billy Basso. Basso is deliberately vague about the game's contents, but points to having puzzling, platforming, and horror elements without being any of those genres in of itself. The game appears to revolve around a map that can be traveled across and relearned as you discover new abilities or items. Yeah, look, I mean, to be honest, it looked like an indie game. It looked like a game. I wasn't, yeah. Cool. Indie roundup. Again, you could take all of that, combine it with the other stuff, GT, Ghostwire Tokyo, Horizon trailer. What do you got? You got state of play, don't you?
You got, yeah, 1 hour, 30 minutes state of play.
No, isn't it? I said cut down the GT content. Cut it down.
But that's not the point.
You gotta cut it down. You gotta get a little bit in, and then at the end it says, check out the full presentation on youtube.com/PlayStation after the show.
See, they're just cutting out the middleman by having them all separate.
Yeah, it's bullshit though. Next major PS5 software update has been revealed, and here's all the new features. Right, it's press start. It's a beta, so who knows when this will actually release, but here's what's in the upcoming beta. New party chat options. In response to community feedback, we've made some updates to the party system. I swear they change the party system once a month at this stage, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Open and close parties. When you start a party, you can now select either an open party or closed party. An open party lets your friends see it and join the party without an invite. A closed party is only for players you invite. Good job. Voice chat reporting feature. If you want to report something that someone said in the party, there are now visual indicators that identify who is speaking. So you can dob on your friends for saying naughty words. SharePlay update. Start SharePlay directly from the voice chat card. You no longer need to start share screen first to use SharePlay. Barely anyone uses this feature. This is quicker than the way it was set up for people who have tried to use it. Because I remember when we was doing it, and I was like, I wonder if you can see my screen, like when we was in a chat with Buddy or whatever. And you had to click a button, click the thing. Like it was just very convoluted, but good job. That's a PS4 thing. I don't really care. Voice chats are now called parties. For easier access, we've divided the game base menu into 3 tabs: friends, parties, messages. So it's all split up now. From the game-based control menu, you can now view all your friends under the Friends tab, add a player to a group or new group directly from the game-based control center. You can also send text messages, quick messages, images, video clips, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know why it wasn't set up like this in the first place, because it was kind of confusing. You'd have like party chats, single chats, whatever else. It was all just lumped in together. So new PS5 UI features. Filter by genre. We've added the option to filter your game collection by genre, letting you quickly find specific type of game experiences. It's kind of cool if you're like, what was that first-person shooter that was on PlayStation Plus like a couple months ago, but I can't remember what it was called. Yep. Scenario that I guarantee someone will use.
I mean, is it going to be good for the games that are like cross-genre?
Hopefully it'll just come up under both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's done correctly. I mean, I would
How
assume.
niche I want to know how niche the genres are.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Because Steam, obviously, you can see them. I don't know if. I would assume that PlayStation, on the PlayStation Store, has metadata into those games. We just can't see it. Presumably. Or maybe they do, because you can search by first person shooter and stuff on the PlayStation Store. So, I don't know. Keep in home. You can now keep the games or apps you choose on your home screen by selecting Keep in Home with the Options button. You can have a maximum of 5 games and apps on each home screen with this feature. This is cool for people who play a lot of games or rotate through a lot of games while also having one or more, 1, 2, 3 multiplayer games they want to have sort of pinned to the home. So if you want to have Apex always at the front, you can pin it. You can always have it on home. You want to have Rocket League always in the front. You want to have Knockout Legends, whatever the fuck else. You can have it on your front menu now, and then you can still jump in and out of several other games, and you're not going to have those get buried behind all other random shit that you've been opening. So I think this is a good feature. Maybe not one that everyone will use, but for people who do,
For the people who do,
yeah, I think it's good. Increased apps on the home screen. You can now have a total of 14 games and apps appear on the home screen. I guess that just means it scrolls a bit longer. Presumably?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Trophies
Which is good because that's the amount of games you could have installed on your PS5.
Yeah, that's a good point. So now you can just see everything. That's true. Trophies UI update. We've updated the visual design of trophy cards and the trophy list. You can also see suggestions for which trophy to earn on the trophy tracker and access it from the control center whenever you're playing a game. Yeah, so shiny new trophy icons when you're looking at the trophies to be earned. If they don't have like cool pictures or whatever, I guess, stuff like that. I think the coolest thing about this is the suggested thing. I think that's helpful. Like if you go look at the trophy tracker and let's say you've got 48 out of 50 kills with a pistol in a game, it would, I presume, say, hey, why don't you grab this bronze trophy? You're 2 kills off. It says you're at 48 out of 50. Go grab that one. So that's helpful. Start the share screen from the crate menu. Yep. More screen reader, a bunch of accessibility stuff, which is cool. I think that's about it. Yep. But there's some decent stuff in there. And who knows what else could change while it's in the beta. But
Dylan, down the bottom, it's got voice command. Only available in the US and UK, but we're one step closer to saying, hey, PlayStation, save clip.
Save clip.
And it's saving clip.
It's true.
Which is the dream.
It's just they will never get it because they go, you can't understand Australian accents. Hey, PlayStation.
So we just have to talk with a British accent.
Oi,
Gov.
Oi.
Save a PlayStation. Save clip.
Yeah. Oi, PlayStation. Would you mind saving that clip for me, mate? Make me a cup of tea.
Oh, thanks, Gov.
Thanks, Governor.
God save the Queen.
And may she live to be 101. Thank you very much. Obviously, Uncharted movie, talk about it in a second. Firstly, talk about something that someone did something very naughty, but I just want to talk about it anyway. Because I presume this, when we actually watch the movie, I highly doubt this is going to be one of the major things on our mind at the time. But someone recorded the opening of the movie. It's on YouTube. And you can, it's just the opening new PlayStation Productions logo thing that starts, that opens with the movie, along with like the Columbia logo and your usual movie logo bullshit. But this is a new one we haven't seen before. So I thought it was kind of cool and interesting. So it has like Nathan Drake, it has Jin, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us characters, God of War, Sackboy. Most interestingly, Astrobot's like centerpiece, like he's the god of the PlayStation universe, which is the thing that stood out to me the most. Like at the end here, and I'm not showing this on the video version for anyone watching, simply because I'm afraid if I do, it'll get. I feel like that's just asking for a copyright strike at that point. But yeah, but if you go watch it, and I'll link to a news story from Push Square where I found this in the notes below, of course. But yeah, they have all these characters in like this long run, and they're all these big characters, Uncharted and Last of Us or whatever. Why is Astrobot there? as the head of the table. What's going on there?
I don't know. I think Clank's actually in the middle, but
Is he?
yeah, Clank's in the middle, and Astro Boy's slightly to his left.
Yeah, but he's at the back. Like he's at the back. Like he's at the very back.
Yeah.
Like the camera's zooming towards him. Like
They put all short ones at the back, which just makes sense.
number one. And then my other question was going to be, why all these characters? This brand new intro for the first PlayStation Productions movie. Are we getting movies for everything here?
Hopefully.
Yeah. So that means we're going to Ghost of Tsushima
There's
movie.
already 2? Well, we know we're getting a Ghost of Tsushima movie.
Oh, that's right. Fuck, I forgot. Hey, that's right. So God of War,
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank we already got, technically, I guess, but don't know if that counts.
Not on the PlayStation Productions.
Not on the PlayStation Productions.
Give us the Astrobot movie.
Give us
How
the
cool would that be?
Astrobot movie, yeah.
And it's just an adaptation of Astrobot's Playroom. Just going through PlayStation history.
Astrobot movie would do really well though, because everyone loves watching movies where it's just a bunch of nostalgia, right? Which is what that is now.
Yeah.
The plot of the movie is literally a little robot character goes around,
But it has to be he can't there has to be no dialogue,
but the other characters can speak. Maybe
I guess. But
they do in the game.
that's true.
Yeah, they have little speech bubbles.
Okay, it's only in speech bubbles.
It's a silent film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. So that's
Bring
that.
them back.
We'll all get to see that brand new opening, and I presume it looks a lot cooler when it's not filmed on Nokia 2600. But yeah, Uncharted movie. Pulse check. It's out this week, Ash. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna do a spoiler cast. You'll be able to find that on the What Do You Want to Watch podcast feed. Although I was gonna ask you if it makes sense to double post it. Like, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe I'll like direct put something up directing. Yeah. I should have a review up by Thursday. 9 a.m. Thursday.
Right. Review Thursday. Spoiler cast Friday, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to record it Thursday night after I get to watch it. It's been getting very average reviews from what I've seen. I haven't read any, just the scores.
They're all from the UK where it's already been released so far. Yeah. Interestingly, it's already made $21.5 million in those small territories, already being the 6th highest grossing movie of the year released this year, overtaking Moonfall and Marry Me. So, that's promising for a movie that's only released in like 4 countries.
I mean, ultimately, it only needs to make the money to get a sequel, so critics don't matter at the end of the day, so...
I mean, here's a question. Does it make more than Scream?
No. Fuck no. I hope not.
You don't think it could make $128 million?
I hope not.
When it's already made $21 million in 4 countries?
I don't know. Probably will. I just hope it doesn't. I like Scream. I like the success story of Scream.
But the Uncharted, I assume, has put way more money in it.
Probably, yes.
And Tom Holland is a bigger star arguably than anybody in Scream currently.
Hey. That's outrageous.
He's coming off the biggest grossing movie almost of all time, so.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. How you feeling?
And Mark Wahlberg.
How you feeling going into it? Are you like ready for disappointment or?
I think it's just going to be like fun, dumb fun. I'm not expecting it to be this marvelous masterpiece with like incredible plot and like a great mystery and it all comes together and like amazing action sequences. I think it'll just be because it is a project that obviously the can's been kicked down the road like for years, and then Ruben Fleischer comes in at the last minute to take over directing. There's no way it could be an excellent movie, I don't think. But if I have a good time, have a few laughs, there was a couple of cool action sequences. Yeah. As long as they don't like massively retcon or tarnish the legacy of Uncharted, then I'll be happy.
I feel like it's a big moment. I feel like we spent all of last year talking about this movie, really.
I feel like we've been doing a Nate No segment for like 3 years.
Yeah. And now it's finally releasing, and I'm just like, what's next? You know, what do we do next? What do we do next? And I'll tell you what we do next. It's Jak X Combat Racing was a great game because Ruben Fleischer, director of Sony's upcoming live-action Uncharted movie, Right Gamer, has revealed he's currently in the process of adapting another beloved PlayStation property for the big screen. Speaking to Digital Trends during a promotional tour for the Uncharted film, which currently releases on 11th of February in the UK, motherfuckers, Fleischer revealed, quote, "I'm actually working on a Jak and Daxter, a version of that for PlayStation, which I think would be really cool to bring to life. Jak and Daxter, Right Gamer, is perhaps an odd title to adapt on the face of it, given that there hasn't been a new entry in the Naughty Dog developed series since 2009's The Lost Frontier. But there's no denying the game's bold, breezy, and already strongly cinematic aesthetic has plenty of family-friendly appeal that would be comfortably lend itself to big screen." Curiously, Fleischer's latest revelation follows comments by actor Tom Holland, who stars as young Nathan Drake in an upcoming Uncharted film, saying he would love to play Jak in a really weird and dark live-action version of Jak and Daxter if another video game adaptation was in his future. Time will tell. So, yeah, that story was last week, and I chose not to include it because I was like, haha.
The story where he says he wants it to be made by A24.
Mm-hmm. I was like, good job, Tom Holland. Yep, good comments. And then when Ruben Fleischer came out and was like, I'm actually working on that. Like, I presume like a pitch or something or like a script or I don't like not a full script, but like a pitch script sort of thing, whatever you call it. Like, if that's serious, oh boy, that's an interesting choice. Because there's some, I mean, Jak and Daxter would make for a great movie if done really well, but also it's very cartoony. And the games, especially like everything after the first one, where Jak is suddenly this brooding, dark character, and that's paired with Daxter, who's just this very over-the-top screaming cartoon character, somehow works in the video game. However, I feel like in a movie, that could almost be like the after-credit scene of Cowboy Bebop Season 1. Of just, in live action, that doesn't look well, or that doesn't come across probably the same way. Yeah, I don't know. Have you played Jak and Daxter's? Like, would you have?
No, I've never played one, which is probably sacrilege. But, they're always there, and I'm like, never got around.
So the first game is like an open world, I guess, kind of. It's like biomes, and you go collect these precursor orbs, and it's sort of like it's just like a platforming action game, family friendly. Jak's like this young teenage character or whatever. Daxter is this kid who was transformed into a weasel thing, whatever he was, because he got caught in like a spell on this island. Crazy how much I remember. I played these games a lot. So I do have like an attachment to them, especially the trilogy. And then at the end of the first one, they get transported to like the future, this like city place, because the whole first game takes place on this island or whatever. And now you're in like the future, and there's like flying cars and all this sort of shit. And Jak is like captured, and then he's infected with, I can't remember what it's called, but like this stuff that basically makes him like evil, and he has the ability to transform into a fucked up, like stronger evil version of himself. In that game, you got guns now. So like the first game's like spin attacks and stuff. Second game, you want a shotgun, motherfucker? It takes a dive.
Yeah, the first game's Crash Bandicoot, the second game's Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah. It's over a lot darker. Like it's like Jak's just like, fucking kill everyone. I mean, he doesn't speak, but it looks like he wants to kill everyone. So yeah, interesting franchise. Also has a lot of like weird geopolitical backdrop story for a potentially family-friendly game where you've got like corporations controlling cities and keeping people under rule and thumb and experimenting on people and like ruining the planet and, you know, like all these sorts of things. So, I mean, there's potential there for a movie. I just don't think Tom Holland as Jak is the thing I want to see in my lifetime. Sorry.
He should be Daxter.
He would be a better Daxter because he does annoy me. So. So that probably would fit more. All right. That'll do it. This week's episode of Platinum Explosion. Of course, next week we'll have lots to talk about. Horizon, Charter movie. Again, spoiler cast will be up for that Friday on the What Do You Want to Watch feed. ExplosionNetwork.com, you'll find everything though. If you're looking for it, you'll find your way there one way or another. Ash will have a written review Thursday, hopefully. Horizon review will come eventually. Horizon spoiler cast will come when we've beaten the game. We can actually talk about it. Yeah, these are in the future. But for this week, let us know if you're excited about Horizon or if you think reviews at a 6.5 are offensive to you for some reason, because I may ban you. So you can go to my Twitter, explosionnetwork.com/Twitter, and our Discord, explosionnetwork.com/Discord. And if you want to let us know those things there, I will just ban you from those platforms probably. And if you liked this episode and you thought it was worth $1, head on over to explosionnetwork.com/support, where you can send us as little as $1 to help support the show, the website, and keep the lights and mics on. And until next week, remember, every trophy counts.